Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into a really mind-bending puzzle from the philosopher Slavoj Žižek. And it's this: how do our social systems, our ideologies, keep running when, if we're being honest, most of us are way too cynical to actually believe in them anymore?
And this is the real mystery we're digging into today. It's a paradox you probably feel in your own life. You know the corporate mission statement is just a bunch of buzzwords. You know the political promises are kind of hollow. You know that ad is trying to manipulate you, and yet we all keep playing along. Nothing really changes, so why?
Okay, so first up, let's just frame this problem. Because according to Zizek, this isn't just some minor little quirk of modern life. No, this is one of its defining features. I mean, just think about it for a second. The awkward team-building exercises at work, the big patriotic holidays, the daily ups and downs of the stock market. We go through the motions, right? We play the part. But inside, our inner monologue is usually rolling its eyes, full of irony and cynicism. We don't really believe.
So, to get our heads around this modern problem, we actually have to go back in time a little bit. We need to look at the old-school answer for how ideology works, which comes to us from Karl Marx.
So the traditional thinking was basically this. Ideology works because people are, well, kind of clueless. They're being tricked. They're looking at the world through this distorted lens, and they just don't realize that the picture they're seeing isn't the real story of power and how things actually work.
And Marx had this perfect little phrase for it. They do not know it, but they are doing it. The whole trick, the whole illusion, is based on people not knowing. They take part in a system that might even be working against their own interests, but it's only because they're in the dark about how it all truly functions. The secret is hidden.
But hang on a second. That just doesn't sound like us anymore, does it? We're not naive. We're cynics. And this is where the mystery really starts to get deep.
And you can see the difference right here. On one side, you've got the classic subject of ideology. They're naive, they don't know what's going on. But on the other side, that's us. We're not duped. We feel like we're enlightened. We see the gap between the mask and the reality. The illusion, for us, is no longer in our minds. We see through it.
And this leads us to the new formula, which another philosopher, Peter Sloterdijk, summed up perfectly. They know very well what they are doing, but still, they are doing it. It's this paradox of an enlightened false consciousness. Knowing the truth doesn't set us free. We see the puppet strings, but we just keep on dancing.
So, what gives? If the old model of ideology is broken, if nobody is naive anymore, how do these systems keep going? How does the machine keep running when its only fuel is our own cynicism?
Okay, so this is where Žižek drops the bomb. This is the big twist in the story. To solve this whole puzzle, he says, we've been looking in completely the wrong place.
See, we've been thinking about this all wrong. The illusion isn't some foggy idea in our heads that distorts reality. Žižek argues that the illusion is actually woven into our social reality itself. It's in our actions, in the way we interact, in the very structure of our society.
And this is where he brings in this killer concept, ideological fantasy. It's not about what you consciously think or believe. It's about the unspoken, unconscious script that structures everything we do. Our actions, our institutions, the whole system. They believe for us, so we don't have to.
So what does that mean? It means all that sarcastic commentary running through your head, it's basically irrelevant. Your private, cynical thoughts don't actually do anything, because when you use money, you are acting as if it has real value. When you follow a rule, you're acting as if it has authority. Your actions are doing the believing for you.
I know, this can sound a little out there. So let's look at some brilliant, everyday examples of how this actually works. How our deepest beliefs and feelings can be handed over to objects and rituals to do the work for us.
Think about it. You know that laugh track on old sitcoms? The TV is literally laughing for us, so we don't have to. Or Tibetan prayer wheels. The machine prays for you, so objectively, the praying gets done, no matter what's on your mind. Even hired mourners at a funeral. They perform the sadness for you. In every case, the belief is outside of us. It's in the machine, in the ritual, not in our heads.
But Žižek's best example, hands down, is a joke. It goes like this. A guy goes to a therapist because he's convinced he's a grain of corn. After months of treatment, he's finally cured. He knows he's a man. But then he comes running back, totally terrified. The therapist asks what's wrong, and the guy says, I know I'm a man, but does the hen know? And boom, that's the entire theory in a nutshell. His personal subjective knowledge, I know I'm a man, is totally irrelevant to the hen. The hen represents the objective social system. It doesn't care what he thinks he is, it's going to treat him like a grain of corn anyway.
All right, so let's bring this all home. What does this actually mean for you and me living our lives every day? This is the final and kind of confronting takeaway.
What this whole idea really does is force us to change where we're looking. Forget about your inner cynical monologue. That's the easy part. The really hard question is to look at what you actually do. Look at your daily habits, what you buy, how you interact with people. What beliefs are those actions holding up? Because in the end, you can be the world's biggest cynic in your own head, but if your actions are still following the script, then you are the perfect citizen of that ideology. Your participation is the only belief that really matters. And that leaves us with one heck of a final question. If what we think is just noise, and what we do is everything, what does the system hear when it listens to you?